are with episode number 3, right?
Yes,
God, I've lost count already. Of the Sloth Doctors. I am Dr. Chip.
I am Dr. Bob.
And today we have, as guests, we have Steve Quinto and Crazy Dave Blaine Carey.
Hello.
You guys want to introduce yourselves and tell us what you do?
I'm Steve Quinto. I play drums pretty much for a living. No other jobs to speak of, really. Would never stop believing and living on a prayer. Both bands, same guys. And, we do 3-4 shows a month with that, which is great. Love it.
And you guys also.
We do a jam night every Wednesday at Cheers, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I got to say, I love hosting jam nights because, it's one thing to play songs with people that know all the right notes, and you're like, this is boring, but you go to a jam night, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I have to react to that. Say, James over here, he's going to play Brown Eyed Girl, and now he's going to give it like a salsa feel, but, I gotta go along with that because
Are you doing it now? He told me you quit the meatloaf thing, huh?
I'm quit, fired. It's what it is. It's very serendipitous. It's like.
So do you have anything else going on?
When you say the
other?
meatloaf thing, do you mean a meatloaf tribute?
Yeah.
Meatloaf, Fleetwood Mac. I've been doing tributes, and it's everybody people sorry. You're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear this, but no, it's great news. I'm so burnt out. I've been doing this for so many years, and I've just been it's been grinding me down, and
So you're just doing jam night now?
Yeah, no, I have plenty of gigs. A lot of people hit me up still.
Well, yeah, pickup gigs. Nothing really. You're not in any other bands per se.
It won't take long.
Well, you know me, man.
Yeah.
I'm always playing with everybody.
I mean, he's doing the Monday night jam night also now at Gigi's. With,
that's right. Who does that one?
Tommy Vincent.
Oh, that's right.
Andy
Tommy
Mendez and Joe B. I don't know his last name, but
I was going to say before you had the name Crazy Dave, I think Andy Mendez used to call you Bobblehead.
Oh, is that? I have so many nicknames.
I'm telling you, when I first met Dave, there was a bunch of names that we had there.
I wanted to ask you where Crazy Dave came from. If that was something you gave yourself, or if it was bestowed upon you.
Yeah, just everybody, just crazy in so many ways, and I'm, literally a little bit crazy too. That's why, the tribute, the whole being on the road 24/7. It was man, it was.
See, for people that don't know Dave, I'll tell you, when Dave plays or learns a song. When I first met Dave, I got called to join a Judy Blam band.
No, I called you.
Or you called me.
Yeah, I was
Somebody
one
called
that
me.
recruited
But
you.
it was,
You came into my
it
jam
was,
night
it was one of her
at
bands, and I never have been in one of her bands. You know what I mean? But I won't go there. But anyway, I started playing with them. That's when I met him and Vinny for the first time. And the guitar player they had, who I won't mention because he was an asshole. But
I don't think you could say that over the...
Oh, that's not really technically a swear. But one thing I did notice was how precise he was with playing.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing. He's
very
amazing.
similar to you in his learning technique.
Oh, he's way better than me. He's way better
Well,
than me.
it's a different technique. When you
That's
play,
true, that's true.
every song, I've been in a band with you many times, every song you play note for note, you play it like it is. That's what he does.
Yeah, but
with
he
the
does
crazy Dave flair.
He does it with stuff like Meatloaf, though. It's they wanted me to do that Meatloaf thing, and I started
too.
listening to it, and
Me
I'm
too.
like, I'm not doing that. That's insane.
I
The amount of
turned it
stuff. I mean, how long did it take you to learn that stuff?
Honestly, not very long. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't because
one day.
you're one of those savant,
That's what I'm saying.
It's just about stuff like that. It's just that the songs are really long and the structures are long. So you really got to just get out of your head that you got to memorize how many
the
different...
Meatloaf songs are basically...
Just break them down into parts.
Yeah,
It's
they're
I'm
3
learning
songs.
Yeah, it's like
It's like 3 songs in one song.
And when you
there's the
approach it
first
like
song
that,
section.
if you have a good memory and you'll...
Well,
catch on quick.
Scott Curry started that band.
Yeah,
He was the first one. So, and I got a call at the very beginning, and that was my reaction. I was like, I know a couple of Meatloaf songs. I could play "Paradise by the Dashboard Light" like it's nobody's business right now. You know what I mean? Right. And the ballad, I knew a couple. And I'm like, I don't want to dive into learning all that. It's like
it's
like
intricate,
a Broadway
man.
show.
It's involved stuff.
Yeah, so I turned it down.
Bad Out of Hell, and 2 Out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, and I was doing a lot of the voice
and there's a couple more, and they do some.
I was doing a lot of the
picture
voice
shit.
stuff. I did all the on a hot summer night, would you offer your throat to the wolf? It's just a jump to the left. It's with your hands on your hips.
But to their, I will say that with him in the band, when he was in the band, I watched video and it would blow me away because Benny did a great job.
Yeah, no, their vocals are
the
great.
vocals
Oh, yeah,
are
it's a
great.
great band.
But,
Absolutely, great band.
being a team player, working with people, all, it goes hand in hand. So I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Thank God that I'm lucky. I got.
Well, you had some kind of issue with the airlines or something, right?
Yeah. That's mostly it. I can't. Like.
So you just don't want to have to travel and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anymore.
I need to be at home with like my cat and my girlfriend and like be able to go to the gym. Eat
All right,
what I
and
want,
can we admit that's the same person? No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm saying that's why there's
That's
a big
why I was
difference.
afraid to go on Chip's show. I'm like, this guy's so quick-witted.
Of course he is. But there's a big difference because their schedule's like, 10, 12, 15
yeah,
gigs
most
a
people
month.
rotate, and that's how I think that.
And
a lot
my
of the
journey
people,
stuff, we do, 3, 4 a month.
True.
So I like the traveling because it's not so much.
And you guys don't. I mean, you don't have to catch flights very often. You can usually drive.
Not
to your
very
gigs,
often.
right? Yeah.
I mean, even North Carolina, we drive. I flew to California for gigs. I flew to Texas. I flew into Philly, New York.
Well, you guys do like a lot of West Coast and up in the middle of the state.
most of it
you can just
Most
drive.
of it's in the state or just the surrounding states, and we drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I
like
imagine if
that.
you got to leave the time zone, you might as well fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
You know
then
what I mean?
then we got to get it backlined, and then you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
that is,
and I want my stuff with me.
And
So
there is that.
yeah, so we get hotels in the contracts and everything. It's just, and I like to drive myself. I just
Yeah,
my
it's nice
thing
to be
and
able
drive,
to say, "Hey, look, I'm done, guys. See you later." And
Yeah.
leave, not have to
Yeah.
sit there and go, "When are we leaving, guys?"
half the time we don't even use the hotels. We're done playing, and we're like, no, I ain't staying. I'm just gonna hit the road. I just drive home. So
Yeah, Greg and I drove home straight from what was it, Kansas City, 24 hours.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
I don't know if I do that.
That's why they call you Crazy Dave. Yeah, that's it.
There's a lot of reasons,
Yeah,
but one of them is that he's just plain fucking crazy.
yeah.
That's one of them.
legally,
That's
true.
just one
Those
of
are pretty mild versions of crazy. The main reason I asked
Yeah,
is that
yeah, no, he's not.
everybody I've
He's not
known-
violent or dangerous crazy.
No.
He's just crazy.
Most
Not
of
at
the people
all.
I've known that had a nickname like that, though, there was a much harsher reason behind it.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. Dave is
Definitely.
very harmless.
He's very harmless.
I once knew a guy named Dumpster Dave, and the nickname was just because he was a dirty guy, kind of a local legend in the West Palm Beach area. And
I'm surprised I don't know him.
He's
Or
one of
I
the
was
most-
going to say I don't know him
We
either. I
threw
don't
it-
know who he's talking
I
about.
think he was on The Price is Right once. That's like his little claim to fame, like a local 15-minute, local boy made good.
Hey,
so
that's
to speak.
something.
It's something. Well, my Dumpster Dave story is one of the most horrifying things that has ever happened to me in my entire adult life. To tell that story, I have to ask: has anybody here ever tried GHB? Do you know what GHB is?
I have.
do.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
not.
they called it Scoop. It started off as something like weightlifters would take to help
Yeah,
them
yeah,
sleep
I
and build
remember.
muscle. And
I
then
never
some
took it,
genius
though.
figured out that
I took it
if
once
you
at
take
a
a little
gig.
bit of this with some
It was
alcohol,
weird.
you get hammered. So this place I was working at the time, a restaurant, of course, was full of degenerates. And one of the popular items floating around was GHB. So I decided to try it one night in a foolish attempt to impress a chick that I was trying to bang that worked there. Some chick named Michelle, last name unknown. She had big Bambi deer eyes, very cute girl,
Still remembers her pretty
I
well,
remember
right,
that,
to
yeah.
this day.
Oh well, the reason I remember her and everything so well is because of what I'm about to tell you next. So I'm at her house trying this stuff for the first time, and who should be there but also a mutual friend, Dumpster Dave, who's sitting on the couch. I'm sitting on the floor next to the chair that she's sitting in because she's mixing me up whatever drug cocktail that she's trying to mix up. Years and years ago, the statute of limitation on this is long since passed.
I don't think I don't think it was ever illegal.
It might not have been.
Yeah, I don't think it was either.
So I'm trying to hit on this chick, and I think Dave was trying to do the same thing, right? So I don't know what gave him this devious, diabolical plan, and he's sitting behind me, and I hear him ask a question that, boys, if anybody ever asks you this, be careful how you answer. You're not homophobic anyway, are you? Now, this chick was pretty left-wing and open-minded, and I'm not homophobic. So, certainly also because I don't think the word even applies, because if anything, most people that claim to be homophobic aren't actually afraid of gay people. They're, you know what I mean? They just don't find it comfortable or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
So, of course, I answer no, and he goes, well, check this out. And I turn around, and inches from my face, Dave Schlong hanging there with a Prince Albert through it. It was one of the most
Jesus.
horrifying things I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
I don't even think I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Dr. Bob, thanks.
There you
Can't
go.
even unhear that.
Yeah, now I'm gonna.
When
I got
somebody gets-
this vision in my head all
That's
night.
the
now.
only nicknamed Dave I've ever known. So when somebody says we're going to meet a guy named Crazy Dave, I'm like,
No,
oh, God.
everybody's name is Dave. Like 1 in 5 white.
Thank
dudes is
God
named
he's
Dave.
not that crazy.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty high bar to meet for for you to
Yeah,
like, that's quite the gauntlet to throw down.
The sad thing is that I'm sure there's somebody that's going to hear this podcast that knew him that's going to say that happened to me too.
it
He had
definitely
to have
will.
done it more than
Dave's
once.
not here, man.
Like
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm
Thank
surprised
God.
that we don't know him because I mean I met you in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I
in
don't know his-
81,
I don't know his real
82.
last name. I don't
Maybe
think I
the
ever knew
Dave
it.
we know from Brain Grenade is Dumpster Dave.
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay, not. Oh.
That was the reason for the demise of that band, which was a great band, by the way, Brain Grenade.
Oh, yeah.
When I got in
Yeah,
it,
I
I was
remember,
really
yeah.
happy because they played really well. We had good gigs, like 5 nights a week, Murphy's Law, good gigs. But the guitar player was such a
Hey, we're not here to slam people. Let's just
I'm not naming any names. I didn't name any names. But him and Dave actually
don't
didn't get
name
along.
names.
They didn't get along very well.
So I was trying to think of some of my funniest jam night stories, and I'll never forget once when I was
100
doing
of them.
jam night. This guy came in. I forget what his name was, but he was an old looking guy. He looked old, and he played guitar.
Where? What jam night?
At
Crazy Horse?
No,
wait.
when I used to do Cheers with Andy
Oh,
Mendez.
okay.
That's right. You weren't on that gig, but
Yeah,
I used to
we
do-
both used to do that gig.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I took over for you the first time when I started doing it. That's how Johnny D. That was his first gig. Is I got him on the jam.
I remember that, but
But
I-
anyway, so one night we're sitting there playing, and this guy's up there, old looking dude playing, and I can't remember if I was 50 or 55, but the guy was up there and he's like, "Yeah, and it's his birthday today. He's 50 or 55," and I'm looking at him like, "Oh my god!"
No, that can't be right. That can't be
It's
right.
like, geez, I didn't think I looked that good, but my God, this guy just he looked 80 if he looked a day.
Sometimes
I
it's
was like,
not the years, it's the mileage.
Some of them
Yeah.
look
No,
that.
that's why I'm actually having a White Claw right now. I just turned 21. Today's my birthday.
Congratulations.
we all
Happy
wish.
birthday.
what kind of,
I could look worse for my age, so I'm
what kind
I'm
of
happy, you know.
nightmare jam night stories do you have? You've only been doing it for a couple of weeks.
No, we got stories.
Well, this one we've had going it's just a little over 2 months. We've only done 8 or 9, and it's built up pretty well. I mean,
Yeah, we've
but
got
you
a lot
got
of
the
good
typical
musicians
people
come out.
like
Yeah.
she'll sign up at the end of the night, and we're just like, oh, we got one more to come. No one's really vetted her at all. The Chico, the sound guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that one- that one lady,
And she'll
yeah.
come up there, just some drunk chick, and it's like not a way we want to end the night, but it was
Yeah,
entertainment.
it's jam
You know,
night.
It was
you know,
funny.
exactly.
So
you got to make it. It's almost karaoke at some level.
we
yeah,
had
but
a lot of fun.
that's the
There's-
way I see it, though. It's karaoke. The people should be able to at least ably get through the song, right?
Well, yeah, sometimes they
Well,
can't.
here's the
you
thing.
know.
Let's talk about karaoke for a second. Nobody really knows how to do karaoke because you're supposed to be really drunk. You're not supposed to go up there and
Well, yeah.
really try to
Just
sing.
try to be
well.
good.
You're
Yeah, I
supposed
know.
to be really drunk and get up there and try to sing.
Yeah.
That's why, if I ever did a karaoke, I would have a breathalyzer. And if you can't
Make
blow
sure.
like a 1.5,
You ain't doing it.
No, you're not ready yet. Go do a few shots.
That's a good idea.
But I think also the key to it is, like you said, you do have to be drunk, but you do have to try. You just can't
yeah.
be capable of doing a really
Exactly,
good job.
exactly.
You can't go up there
But
and
you
tank
can't-
on purpose.
But you
But
can't
I
have
don't want
these-
to. I don't want to see all the lead singers from bands coming in there and
Yeah,
just to toot their horn.
Wait, is
I
this
can
what
sing
we're
this
doing?
American
too.
Idol
You know,
wannabes.
yeah.
Is this what we're doing? Is this like a
Yes,
carpool?
you're gonna have to-
We're
you're
gonna
gonna
do
have to sing soon.
karaoke, but in the podcast office.
Yes.
I'm ready.
It's
We've
a good
actually-
idea. You should start a karaoke night
Well, it's
with
funny.
doing that.
Did you see the comments on the first flyer podcast?
I
we
saw
did?
some of them.
This woman makes a comment like, "You didn't even let them sing." Like, yeah,
Let
yeah. So if you guys got
sing.
anything, yeah, anything.
on the
have
I
anything
mean, I am a
prepared.
singer too, but I'm a drummer. I mean, what do I?
On the subject of the karaoke, also, I don't think the people that run that really want professional singers to show up either. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you think about it,
I
they
wouldn't
make
think
their,
so.
their money is based on how many people they get to participate and gather a crowd and therefore buy drinks and whatnot.
Yeah.
And what gives people the confidence to go up there and do it is that they see somebody really suck.
That's true.
Nobody wants
That's
to
true.
go up there and follow somebody who
That's-
can actually sing.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's
I
how
think
they
you
make
shouldn't be
their
able to pick
business.
the song.
I mean, that's their
think,
business.
I think the other people should have to choose the song for
That
you.
would help.
That's
That would-
That would be
Yeah.
fun too. You know who does a really good job of that is this one girl up in Palm Beach, Kelly Nark. I don't know. She makes sure that Jello shot. She gets them good and liquored up before they kind of start their thing. Like they'll do other trivia games and stuff, and then they'll do the karaoke. And there's certain ways that they do it, and she's got it down to where.
Carrie has a lot of fun on Mondays down at Johnny
Oh yeah,
Brown's. He does
that's
his-
a great gig. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
played
you
that
played
gig
on that,
several,
right?
several.
I used to do it when they were doing it at the pinball place.
Oh,
next
the
door.
live band karaoke.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always a blast though.
And then I think 305, Havoc 305 does that
No,
down in
they're doing-
Margaritaville too.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
just started doing that one.
I think they've done that for a while.
I mean, that's basically what a jam night is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Exactly.
so you can call it what you want, but a jam night is basically live band karaoke. Come on, play with the band, and you get to pick who you want to play with most of the night.
Now, are they doing anything at Cheers West anymore? Is that even still
I
a
don't
thing?
think Cheers West is a thing anymore.
Yeah,
I
I was
don't
gonna
know
say,
if you've
I
heard
don't know.
about Conrad.
Yeah, no, that was horrible. I mean, what happened to him? Did anybody know?
Suicide, I believe.
Oh wow, no kidding.
Yeah,
I didn't know
really
that.
sad. Because
That's what
I liked Conrad. He was a
I was
great
going to
guy.
say, because
Yeah, I
otherwise he
love
was
that
young
guy.
and healthy. I don't
Yeah.
know what could
Yeah,
have
he's a
possibly
great guy.
Something going on that, like I said, that
wow.
nobody knew. But
That's
and I hadn't seen him in a while. But we were the first ones to kind of start the jam night from the other Cheers when he got that Cheers. Me and Andy
Right.
kind of moved it over there and tried it there. And I gave him my old PV speakers I had from the Punch days in the '90s and stuff. And he was just
Conrad
a great
was
guy.
great.
He
Yeah,
was a great guy.
I used to do the jam out there with Chico and
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah.
We did like an acoustic jam
Yeah.
on Mondays or something like that.
Yeah.
And even when the place is empty, Conrad would be out there with with the toilet paper gun.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
very
blowing
impressive with the
blowing
with
the fire
tricks.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Him and that other kid,
Place
with
be
Daniel
empty, people.
Berger, they used to do some crazy fire.
Yeah, every once in a
tricks.
while you'd be standing on stage, and all of a sudden you feel this big wave of heat. You'd be like, "What the hell?" And there's a wall of fire being blown by the
blowing
owner of
fire,
the
yeah.
place.
He was
Crazy.
a good guy though.
Yeah, he was.
Definitely missed for sure. But we don't really. I've never even brought it up with Sean. Yeah,
Oh yeah, well.
But Sean's been great because I just called him out of the blue because there was a jam night on Monday.
But Sean's a great guy.
There's
Sean's-
2 on Thursdays, going on. So I was like, well, we used to have the Wednesdays. Sean, you maybe want to try to do it again right in the middle. We could probably build something up. It's a Wednesday. Not everyone goes to a Monday night at this or Thursday there. So he's like, you know what? I do want to give it a shot. So I called Dave. I called Greg Smola. I actually had called you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had
I think my
great
jam night
musicians
days.
coming in there.
I'm at the point now where I don't really want to even play anywhere that sells liquor. Just because I don't want that to be the motivation of people to be
I see
there.
what you mean. I know
You know what I
what you
mean?
mean, yeah.
I want people to go someplace to see music. I don't want people to go, well, we're here to get drunk, but there's a band here too.
Well, that's why I dig the tribute band.
And I don't,
You know what I mean?
God bless that scene. I made a ton of money doing exactly that,
Yeah.
playing all kinds of music for all kinds of shilling
That's it.
liquor.
But again,
Going, "Yeah,
that's-
go get a
that's-
drink. Go
that's
get
the
buy us
difference,
shots.
you know.
That's the best thing is when you get them buying you shots.
Yeah, in the bar gig, you can do that.
Yeah.
I played in a
bar
band,
you can do
Thought
that.
Monkey. They'd always say we would say that we're alcohol free, which means that
Seven
we
Carters
drink,
outside.
we drink when the alcohol free.
He's next. Yeah. I played with those guys. That guy, Mike, their drummer,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I did a funny gig with those guys. I'd sat in with them for a gig, and then they called me, and he wanted me to come. He paid me like $100 to come do 3 songs with his son. His son was trying to get
His
into
son's in the
Juilliard.
band now.
Yeah, his son was trying to get into Juilliard and was making a video. And he wanted me to do these 3 songs, which they should have got you, because they were the hardest songs. I mean, one of them was some freaking Satriani song that, literally, I called the guy back. I was like, dude, I can't do this. I can't play this song. He goes, "I'll just do as best you can." And I kind of half-assed my way through the song, and he was happy as a clam. He was like, "Oh yeah, you did great, man." I'm like, "Okay."
You're selling yourself short, but I mean, I
Dude, this song was insane. I kind of I covered the basics of that song at best. It was just it was all kind of weird timing, and it was just an insane song. The kid was great though.
Yeah,
He
he's a
nailed
great
it.
guitar player,
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
amazing.
There's a
I could
lot
probably
of
play it
really
on
good-
Rock Band.
There's a lot of good musicians.
I don't know, man. It was tough, man. It was
the whole bar scene is just tough playing.
Well, it's the trenches,
doing
man.
it.
It's
Yeah,
it's
you
the
know.
trenches.
I mean,
of,
I still do it because we only do, like I said, 3-4 a month. But those shows at least are like you were saying.
Hey, I'm
it's people
playing-
who've either bought a ticket
Who are you playing with these
at a
days,
theater
Chad?
show or amphitheater where they've come to see you, and it's not a big drinking thing. It's about the show, and that's
There's
what
nothing
I
better than people that paid just to see you.
That's what I like.
No, I
you know,
definitely
that's why I like
enjoy it.
doing
We played at the Parker Theater. And,
Yeah, we did too, yeah.
Maltz, and that's definitely had some great shows.
And the
Enjoyed it.
Athens Theater in DeLand is
yeah,
really
theaters
good.
are great. Theaters are great.
Yeah, that we try to book those the most.
I'm actually doing a gig with Robinette up at Square Grouper in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
With,
that's just
with
every once in a while.
Riverdown.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's what we're called. River Down,
But
baby.
he still does, version of Riverdown too.
I think it's when Howie lives up in Nashville or South Carolina or something like that.
I know he moved, but I don't
Yeah.
really know.
So when he's out of town, I think he calls me, or I'm sure he's got other guys. I'm on a rotation of
Well, plus he's in the Styx Boston
yeah.
thing, so
Yeah,
he's busy.
a million things.
Yeah,
But,
we saw
uh,
Jimmy last week. He came up to our jam night.
Yeah. Jimmy was at our jam night last week.
He's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. He's like,
Yeah, no,
he's like,
yeah.
who's that?
We've
Who's
had a
that?
lot of
Superman.
recognizable
He's
public
everywhere.
A lot of people have been come up,
people.
like local, Eddie Willer and the dude, his singer.
We had
in Mouth Tape,
Mark McGrath.
Mark McGrath.
You got my boy.
I'm playing with Mouth Tape this Friday, actually. Yeah, Matt Silva, incredible musician.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
you've heard
Yeah,
that
Matt's
guy.
good. And I'm
Great.
playing with Core Friday at Marina 84. But it'll be already past that.
I was going to say,
by the
yeah,
time
that's
you
weird.
guys
I'm
see
actually
this.
looking. I'm wearing the mouth tape shirt right now.
yeah, I saw that.
Come see
No.
us at Packy's on Friday. I mean, when this thing airs 2 weeks from now, and
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be
But
two
I
or
will
three,
say, in
something
the
like that.
second week of April, my Journey band is playing at the Boca Black Box.
That's a nice venue.
And the very next day, we play Abacoa and Jupiter. And
That's
we usually
another-
don't play around here, so it'd be cool to get that.
Where's
out there.
the?
Nice.
Would you say the Square Grouper? Is that in Jupiter?
Yeah,
There's two of them though, isn't there?
yeah, there's one in Fort Pierce as well.
I think so. Yeah.
I made the mistake of going to the wrong one once, filling in with a band. I went to the Jupiter one, and I'm waiting for the guys, and I'm sitting in my car. I'm like, what the hell? So I called the dude, and I'm
That's
like,
the worst.
it was Keith Whalen.
Oh,
It was
no.
Keith Whalen. I called Keith. I'm like, Keith, I'm sitting here waiting at the Square Group. He's like, what do you mean? Well, I'm here, dude. I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't even know there was two. He's like, no, we're the one at four. I'm like, dude, I'm an hour away.
I don't know if it's quite
Have you guys
now.
lived
Is
here
it an
long? Are you
hour?
native Floridians? Lived here a long time, or
I moved to Florida in like early 80, 81.
okay? I was wondering if you'd ever come across a Square Grouper.
No.
It was a fabled something in high school that we.
Oh no,
we
yeah,
all
no, I know.
dreamed- we all
Actually, I
dreamed
know what you're
about.
referencing.
We all
It's
dreamed about finding it.
a large quantity of cocaine.
Well, really anything,
Or,
but basically, yeah,
the
a large
quantity
quantity of anything
of
found on the
anything, yeah.
beach.
Yeah,
there's
I
a
don't know.
Square
I
Grouper.
forgot who told me that. I heard that.
No, you're more
recently.
likely to find that now these days.
Well, yeah, I
Watching
mean,
the
you
news,
certainly,
man.
well, but you probably
Crazy.
wouldn't be even bothered. Why would they bother
Well,
shipping marijuana?
the
here now?
original,
But
the original
No, it's
Square
everything
Groupers
else.
was weed.
Yeah.
But then also. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you're going to find any bales of weed anymore.
No,
So they
no,
can
it's
just
all
grow it here.
fentanyl and
There's-
coke and all
Nobody's
that.
even trying to sneak it in the country anymore.
And
so
they send it into this batch to get caught while it's a diversion so they can get this other batch in over here. That's all they know what they're doing there.
Right.
They've been doing it forever. But, what do I know? I'm not a
Interesting that
cartel
the
guy.
rise of fentanyl coincides with the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Yeah,
Almost as if
all
to say,
that
well,
stuff.
there's really no money to be had in owning these poppy fields
Mm-hmm.
anymore. We can make it synthetically 100 times stronger now, so we'll just deal with other people. And
Yeah.
We can have this rocky hellhole back.
That's what the world is. That's what the world is.
And then, of course,
Fun.
the Chinese producing it, which is all just, revenge for the opium wars and the century of humiliation. Long memories over there. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Even though it was Britain that did it to them. But, the West is the West, I'm sure, is the way they look at it.
Yeah.
And I love how Trump is calling the drug cartels terrorist organizations because I don't remember any terrorists where the victims go, can you please send more?
Right.
More?
Right.
We need more of this terror that you're giving us. We need. We don't have enough. We need a lot more of the terror.
Yeah, I
Most
think that's
terrorists
not
don't
the
have
right
a
label.
product
I
that
don't
sells
think-
itself. That is true.
Yeah. Not very good with the labeling.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so just legalize it. Just bring the manufacturing back home, so we can start
you
just
go.
making the fentanyl
That's-
here. And the funny
Not
thing,
like they're not.
well,
you
the
know?
funny thing about the whole argument. All right, so like you go, well, what is it about? Show me on the emotional doll where fentanyl has hurt you, and they go, oh, but it's the children that are getting. I'm like, wait
But
a minute.
hasn't it killed a bunch of people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of
So
course.
you're saying it's not bad? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
No. It's quite bad. It's quite bad. But here's the thing: when you ask these people, like, well, where did these children get the fentanyl from? It wasn't Walgreens or CVS, was it? Oh no, it was from some street dealer on
I
the
thought they
internet.
got it. They didn't
like,
get
well-
it from Fentex.
Yeah, I mean exactly. Where are they getting this?
I don't think
they
it's
said
that
it was
hard
this,
for
but
them
it was
to find
actually
it
fentanyl.
if they want
Right.
to find
Well,
it.
they're either
you know?
getting it directly from China or they're getting the precursor chemicals from China and then making it themselves here. But they're
Yeah,
doing
no-
it with
well,
no
they make it in-
supervision,
they
no
make it in
regulation,
Mexico.
no oversight, so they can
With something, yeah.
But the biggest problem behind it is that it's being found and put into things that it's not marketed as.
That's
so
the
people
problem.
that are doing it not realizing that the drug they bought even has fentanyl in it.
That's the
and then
big
the other
problem, I
thing
think.
problem is that it's so exponentially stronger. I was given fentanyl once in an emergency room for a bowel obstruction. All right, and it's the one and only time I've ever been given this drug. I've had a lot of ER visits, I had a lot of health issues, and I've had a lot of pain medication in and out of the hospital.
And he's as good as a pharmacist. I
This
swear.
I understand why this happens. I went in with a pain of a solid 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, and within 5 seconds of that injection, I was not only completely pain free, but the highest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, well, I got to say, when I
Instantaneously.
had my heart attack at 36 years old, they put me on. They gave me whatever, you know what I mean, for the pain and I had a couple other problems, and they tried to get me on pills afterward, like for the rest of my life. Certain pills, pain, this and that. And I was like, absolutely not. I refuse. And I loved the high that I was getting. I was like, this is
in the
incredible.
hospital. I've been given Dilaudid. I've been given
Yeah, I think
oxycodone, things like that.
shit like that,
The
yeah.
fentanyl made all of those look like Gatorade. Like
Yeah.
it was just astonishing.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
How fast?
that's what they say.
And
It's-
also, you're not dealing with milligrams. You're dealing with micrograms.
Right.
That's because it's that much stronger. So in a controlled
Scary.
environment like that, with a professional who knows how many 0.2, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the street.
No, I
if
actually,
you-
I
the
have a
width of a
friend that
human hair.
that he did fentanyl. He would buy fentanyl. I was like, dude, you're crazy. I'm not gonna name names. You know.
Yeah.
No,
I
if
mean,
you
it's
know
not
what it
someone you know,
is
yeah.
and you know what
Well-
dosage to take, it's a lot.
Yeah.
better.
That's the thing.
Let me say, in a syringe, you know, the difference in volume between what will kill you and what won't is like the thickness of 2 human hairs.
That's what I'm saying.
So unless your eyesight is, you know what I mean,
And
it
I'm
doesn't
telling
take
you,
much to
your
fuck that
average
up.
person doesn't know that.
No,
You know,
and
the
your average person
was-
who's going to shoot fentanyl
Yeah.
definitely
and the
doesn't
people,
know that.
even the people who are making it half the time, they just put way too much in it. You know what I mean? It's
So
like,
let me ask you this.
stupid.
Let's ask the pharmacist something.
Okay.
Is there any, if they actually put fentanyl on weed, would that even work?
They've laced weed with fentanyl. I've heard about that.
But yeah, I think that's a
But
no.
yeah,
I don't
you-
think that's.
When you say would it work, in other words,
I
would
don't
it have
know,
a pharmacological effect on a human body? Yes. Would it work
think.
as in could you get away with it? Would anybody want it? And would it?
Yeah, no, that's.
Oh, no,
No,
I
it
think
would fuck up the
I thought he
taste,
was
the look,
asking.
the
I
smell.
thought he was asking like, would smoking fentanyl also be able to kill you from?
Well, I
smoking
was
it?
asking that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought he was asking.
Yes,
I would
it
think
could.
so.
It could.
It could.
Oh, okay.
And yes, it could be administered that way. But
Right.
Nobody
why?
would
Yeah.
request it. And the very first time any seasoned marijuana user got their hands on it, they
Not
would
a-
immediately, even before they even probably attempted to roll it,
Not a
it
good
would
business
look
model.
and smell.
Yeah,
Clearly,
probably.
had been altered. You know.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right.
And the same with PCP.
Like I would
back
notice.
in the
I'd
day
be
when
like,
they some
something's
people
wrong
laced
with this.
weed. You know, you can almost always tell. And
I mean, we're
certainly
kind
you know
of
after
we're kind of
immediately hitting
swords,
it.
so we know.
I had
we
my
know it.
I had
No,
my
I
chiropractor.
only smoked cocaine once, and I thought it's because I thought someone was offering me a free base.
right? And they were.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. But no, my chiropractor once was telling me, no, I know this girl at a party and she smoked fentanyl. They spent passed out. I'm like, I've smoked weed with people and they just passed out. It doesn't take fentanyl.
Yeah,
It's like,
you don't need fentanyl
yeah,
for
there's
that.
people. I passed out even once from
Just,
smoking
I mean,
weed.
storage
And
here,
it-
it's
and
pretty scary though.
Weed
I mean,
is not for everybody. As much as benign as
That's
it is
true.
as far as a substance goes. I mean, even
That's
compared
true.
to alcohol, but it still doesn't mean it's for everybody.
No,
there's certain
absolutely
people
not.
that are predisposed to a schizophrenic break that weed is going to push the cheese right off of their fucking cracker.
Yeah, all
I've seen
different.
it happen.
Yeah.
I think there's some people that are just predisposed to not realizing how much they love weed.
Maybe that too.
Yeah, maybe that too. Yeah.
I got to tell this one story. It was with Steven Vincent. We were at, I forget if I was playing with him. I think I was actually running sound for him, but he and I were in a parking lot smoking weed, and his girlfriend was there with us. Like we were talking like this, and his girlfriend was there, and passing, and we're sitting there talking. All of a sudden, his girlfriend just goes, "Blam!" I'm like, what the? She just up and passed out, and then like, what the hell? Smacked her head.
I
on
know
the
a few
ground.
people that smoke and they get so tired they stop smoking.
Dude, all right,
It's
here,
like, no,
even,
not worth it. for
even
them.
better
I'm like,
story about
you know?
the time when I passed out from smoking weed. You remember when I came back from Boston? And I've been up in Boston probably like 8 months, had not smoked any weed for 8
Is this
months.
after the
I find
birthday
that hard
car
to
accident?
believe, but
What's
okay.
that? You flipped the car on your birthday? Was it?
Oh
That
no,
must
no,
have
no,
been-
no.
oh,
That's
okay.
no, that was up there. But I'd come back, and the first thing I did when I got here, my dad drove me down. The first thing I did is go and smoke a couple of fucking hogs. Like, I was ripped high as hell. And then I was taking my dad. We were going to go up and see my buddy Johnny, John, the piano guy. And as we're driving up, I'm like,
D Michelli or whatever.
no, this is a different John. But we're driving up, and I'm like, Dad, I don't feel so good. I don't think I'm gonna. Let's just turn around. I don't want to go. We're not gonna. Let's not go here. So when we got off the highway, I'm like, hey, pull in this gas station. I just wanted to get a water because I was like kind of parched. And I go in and I grab a water. And as I'm walking back to the counter with the water, the guy looks at me and he's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, I'm starting to get the whirlies. And I'm like, I don't know. And next thing you know, I wake up. I'm on the floor. I took out like a candy rack on the way down, I guess, or something. The guy's on the phone, 911, like, oh, yeah, no, he's coming around now. I must have hit my chin on the counter on the way down
And
or
that was
something.
from
Still got the scar.
It's just I hadn't
That was
smoked
from-
a lot
yeah.
of weed. I just got too high, and my blood pressure must have went down. But man, I was out too. Like that's one of the few times when I passed out where I think like when I was coming back, it felt like I'd been out for like a month.
Yeah.
You know, but I'd have probably only been unconscious for like 5 seconds.
Similar shit has happened to me, like when I was married years ago. But it was strangely enough, it wasn't from the weed. It was like one at a restaurant one time. I totally at our anniversary.
It's when your
passed
blood-
out. I woke up on the floor with paramedics over me in a restaurant.
It's blood pressure. You have low blood
It was
pressure, right?
dehydration.
Some kind of thing. Yeah,
One time I had a
similar.
headache that would not go away for like 3 weeks, and I finally was just like, I think I got a tumor or something. Let's go get
It's
a CAT
not the
scan. Let's go.
tumor.
And they're like, dude, there's not like an ounce of liquid in your body. They're like, you're so dehydrated. So ever since then, I hate water. Now I drink water.
Well, the funniest thing is when I woke
Crazy
up.
what it
you
can
guys
do
have
to you.
water?
you know?
We could probably get some more. You know,
Oh,
I
it's
saw
like-
I
it's
saw a guy
like-
beef it once or basically pass out from doing nitrous at a party. So you know when you find yourself the old guy at the party. You know, there comes a day when you go to a party and realize I shouldn't be here. You know,
I've had
so
that.
this
At a
happened to me
party.
back in the '90s, and I was probably
thank you, sir.
maybe 5 to 8 years older than pretty much everybody there. But it was enough, especially at that age difference. To
It's
just-
noticeable.
To know it was noticeable. I
And
looked
you were
around.
what, like probably like my age now, right, or something like that.
Yeah, you know, in my almost 30, late 20s.
Oh no,
early
way
30s.
younger, way younger.
But so these kids were younger than me. They were like in the 21. I was probably 28, something like that. Anyway, I'm sitting at the kitchen table and there's a bong, like a house bong, whatever. So I'm sitting there doing bong hits. And somebody had nitrous and they were handing out balloons. So I had gotten a balloon from somebody and I was holding it in one hand while I was packing the bong with the other. This kid that's standing there, and he must have been one of these 19-year-olds, you know. He's like punk dancing, like all just knees and elbows, you know. And he looks at me and he goes, "Can I hit the balloon?" And I'm like, "Sure." Now I thought he was going to sit down or step aside or something. Oh no! He takes this, you know, it looks like one of those speed boxing ball balloons, one of the pretty big ones. Sucks half of it down while still doing this frantic dancing, and just chicken wings right down onto the floor immediately.
Yeah, and that's the one that like gives you a head rush, right?
Oh yeah, it's what laughing gas. What they
yeah,
give you
and
at
it makes
dentist.
you talk really high. Or
You
No,
remember
that's
that?
helium.
You remember that shit back in the 70s? The little bottles called Rush.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
that?
something different. That's phenol nitrate.
Yeah, it was little
Yeah.
bottles you could go buy at the head
Is that
shop.
like smelling salts?
Kind
Nah,
of.
it's
You
just
literally used to
weird.
open a little bottle,
I know
little
I've
glass
seen
bottle,
Rogan
and
cracking smelling
you
salts on
just
his show.
smell
I
it,
don't know
and you'd
why.
get such a head rush for a couple
Yeah.
minutes, and then that was it. And go away. But people were buying that shit like crazy for a couple of years. It was like hotcakes.
Yeah, no,
going,
this
you know?
this kid that ran this party, his dad must have been a dentist or something because he had one of those
A giant
gigantic
bottle.
Big
tanks
tank,
of
yeah.
nitrous oxide, and he was selling balloons to people for like
Yeah.
$5 a balloon.
Definitely somebody in the
And
industry.
these were giant balloons too.
The only time we ever did nitrous was when I was a busboy, and we used to take the garbage out and
whippets?
dig them out of the garbage. Yeah, there's still some gas left in there.
The first time I went to a dentist as an adult, I was still on my dad's insurance. This is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'll never forget this story. But I went there, and because I was still on his insurance, I figured I'd get everything done. I had a couple of cavities, whatever. And the guy says, "Do you want Novocaine or do you want the laughing gas?" And I'm like, "Why can't I have both?" "Oh, the insurance will only cover one." And I said, "What's the cost difference?" It's like $35. I'm like, "Here's 40, keep the change." You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's fucking ride this train. So I get the appointment. The hygienist has got me set up there in the chair. She puts the mask on my face and she turns the tank on and she walks out of the room. Now, the second she walks out of the room, I start hyperventilating. I'm like, it's as much as I can possibly huff down, right? She comes back about 5 minutes later and she goes, "Are you starting to feel anything?" And I pulled together every ounce of willpower that I had. I looked her dead in the eyes and I went, "No, nothing." She goes, "Oh, odd." He goes over and turns it up a little bit and taps on it, you know, and she walks out of the room again.
yeah.
The dentist comes in a few minutes after that and he goes, "So my hygienist says the gas isn't having any effect on you." He goes, "Are you feeling anything now?" I tried with everything in me, but I looked at him, I was like, and he just chuckled. He goes, "Let's get started."
Yeah.
I remember asking him during the procedure, "How much would you charge me to just come in and huff the gas?" And this guy was real, like fundamentalist, born again Christian. His practice, it had all kinds of religious iconography and everything on the walls. Needless to say, I was never allowed back.
Yeah, I'm
But,
sure.
it was a fun
we
experience.
had all that stuff when we toured. Like I remember we toured the north, south, east, and the west. We sold some mushroom tea. We sold some ecstasy. We sold nitrosopium acid, heroin, and PCP.
The one interesting thing about nitrous,
Crazy
too, though,
Dave, man.
is again, I've had
It's
a
a
lot of
Sublime song. We
surgeries.
should
I
do that
know. I
one.
know.
I've had a lot of surgeries, so I've had a lot of sedations and biopsies and shit. And nitrous is the only thing that they can use to sedate you where you're still allowed to drive yourself home. because it wears off so
Yeah,
fast that
yeah,
the
yeah.
dentist is
Done
like,
in a
hey,
couple
you
minutes.
drove yourself, that's fine. Wait 5 minutes and you're good to
Yeah,
go.
they make you sit for a few, and good to go.
But anything else, you wait till you get your first colonoscopy. They won't let you drive yourself home.
Yeah,
after that
I
bad
did that.
point.
I'm already
Unless
due
you want to do it wide
I'm due
awake.
for the
which
How many
is an option.
colonoscopies have you guys had each?
Well, one that I can not remember because I was unconscious.
Yeah, it's like prison sex. They just
Well,
put you
yeah.
to sleep. You wake up and you're like, all
So
right, it's
I've been
over.
worried about that because I recently turned 40, so I'm like,
No, literally, it's like
Dude,
they
I
put you to
didn't
sleep.
do-
You wake
They
up,
won't
it's all
harass
over
you
there.
about it until you're like 52.
I didn't
okay,
do.
so, like,
They
shit about
started harassing me, and I finally did it at 55. I think. So, I mean, I'm actually due for another one, but I'm.
It's honestly, you're unconscious the whole
Yeah,
time.
you don't know. They
Now,
put you-
You
here's
don't
the-
feel
Here's
nothing.
the only bad thing about it. Well, for me anyway. So whenever I have one of these procedures, they always give you this shit called Versed. It's one of the most popular pre-procedure medications in the business. Versed is not a general anesthesia or even a sedative. What it is an anti-anxiety and amnesia drug. So it basically makes you completely cool with whatever is about to happen to you. And it also makes it hard to remember the things that you've said when you're doing it. Well, for me, it completely drops all of my inhibitions. Like the
I think I've seen
rude,
videos of
lascivious
this drug.
things that I've said to nurses and doctors, and I'm not gay, but if it's funny and it sounds fun to say at the moment, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
So the best example I can think of this, and I'm sure this guy did something to exact revenge against me while I was unconscious, and if he didn't, he should have. I had to have what's called an endoscopic ultrasound. That's where they do an ultrasound from the inside to like look at in this case, it was my pancreas. So they got to get down into your stomach. They go down through your throat. You got to be unconscious for it because, otherwise you'll choke and cough and try to spit the thing out of your mouth. So the procedure for this, right before you pass out, they've got you like laying on your side so that they, and almost in a fetal position so the camera and everything can snake down you. They make you have this bite guard thing that you put in your mouth. And it's got a circle in the center of it, which is where the
Tube goes down,
tube with the camera, with the
scope.
optical fiber camera, exactly,
Scope,
the scope. And the guy doing this procedure is a really nice dude, Asian guy, really short. So am I, like 5'5", a short Asian dude. And he's got me basically on my side on Versed with my mouth open, with this little hole in my mouth. And I remember I thought of the funniest and most inappropriate thing to say, and I said it. And he didn't understand me, so he took the ring out and made me say it again, and it was, your dick will never fit in that hole. Mere seconds after that, I was unconscious, and to this day, I don't know if indeed his dick did fit in that hole,
You never
or if
know.
he even gave it an attempt or not.
You
He
guys
probably
were,
should have, because it was a fucked up thing to say.
You guys were talking about Saturday Night Live. Did anyone see last night's Family Guy or?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Nope, I never watched that show.
Yeah, Quagmire
I didn't know it was
is
still
like,
on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because remember, Quagmire was like about to like poop himself, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a boy band, In Sync, and coming out 98 degrees in one direction."
Nice. It is ironic and funny that you bring up Quagmire, though, because I segue into another fun horror story or hospital horror story and drug related as well. The only time I've ever had a complete like nervous breakdown, like I don't know what you want to call it, a schizophrenic, psychotic episode, I think is exactly what they call it. It was caused from being, I was in the hospital for a bowel resection and abdominal surgery, and I'd been unconscious for days. And when I came to, they put me on Dilaudid, and they put me on like a rather liberal dose of Dilaudid, I think every 4 or 6 hours. Well, when it was time for me to not be on Dilaudid anymore, they didn't taper me down to anything. The doctor just canceled the order for it.
Done, yeah.
And about 7 hours after that, after being thoroughly hooked to the gills on this drug and for weeks in a hospital, I had a completely psychotic episode. And for some reason, and this is why I bring it up, I thought I was Quagmire. I thought my name was Quagmire and that I was an airline pilot. I still remembered the whole thing. Yeah.
Were you going giggity and everything?
They asked me like, who's your name? Who's the president? What year is it? What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. What do you do for a living? And I answered, I'm Glenn Quagmire. I'm an airline pilot. So the lunacy of it all was that somehow in my delusion, I thought that I had found a note or a document or something that illustrated a problem with the hospital that was going to cause some serious problem in the neonatal department where all the babies are being born, right? And I felt like if I don't get this vital piece of this note.
Jesus, dude, you were tripping.
Oh, yeah. I was
big
completely
time,
out of my
right?
mind. I thought I have to
Lord.
get this note to the authorities or babies are going to die, So there was no fucking note. There was no authorities. And none of that was real. Took like 3 or 4 nurses to wrestle me back into bed. And I remember they called my mom and put her on the phone with me because I guess they wanted to try to ground me or something. And I remember her.
Oh, probably not a good idea.
Yeah. So I remember asking my
Not a
mom
good
on the
idea.
phone, is my name Rom? And she's like, I'll be right there.
He is the most qualified to be Dr. Bob because I mean,
Well, it seems like.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I ask him questions before my pharmacist. Like I trust him more than anybody that works at Walgreens.
It's good to have someone like that.
He is.
That
dude.
knows.
It's
He
not
knows
that
his-
I'm really know that much, and there are people certainly in my family that are far more intelligent.
I think it's a
and
trust issue,
I have a
though.
sister who's an actual doctor and a PhD, so she's a doctor. But I have had a lot of interaction with medical staff and doctors because my mom had a lot of health issues, and so have I. And what it boils down to is that even though you've got a document on the wall that says you're a doctor, every class had somebody who graduated last. That might be your doctor. Everybody's got, you know what I mean?
That's
you remember
right.
people in school that could study
That's
for the test
exactly it.
and they
That
didn't
might
remember
be your
anything the
doctor.
next day? That might be your doctor. He gets a degree just like all the other guys.
Yeah,
I was a doctor.
agree. That's why I was saying it's like a trust issue. When you find somebody that is knowledgeable, even if they're not an actual that you trust, you will ask that person first.
I've had some
I mean,
genuine
you know.
quacks, and I've had a handful of remarkable doctors.
Yeah, me too.
My GI in Gainesville, a guy named Dean Kramer, one of the smartest doctors I've ever interacted with, and most comprehensive too.
He saved your life, basically. I would say,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who did my heart surgery was a young hotshot doctor that my father made sure did my heart surgery.
Yeah,
You know,
surgeons.
you know.
I had a
And you know,
neurosurgeon who did.
I have
save my
anybody
life.
that says
Yeah,
chiropractors
it's-
or
I'll never
quacks,
forget that guy.
My chiropractor saved my life.
Right. My neurosurgeon saved my life, but I will say this: he was a prick. But I think anybody that knows him would admit, and I think surgeons in general tend to lean that way because, especially a neurosurgeon,
Dr.
It's a different
Strange.
breed. They're a
you
different
need
breed.
a little bit of a god complex to even think that you can fuck with people's brains.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Get away with
No,
it.
but I mean, a doctor's a very, very noble profession. Like, who
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
want to be a
Oh,
doctor?
absolutely.
Like,
Well,
you
now-
literally heal people.
Now.
But I think when they first become a doctor, I think they care a lot more. I think they get jaded and this and that as they go, and then it just goes
Yeah.
downhill. That's just
And that
the way
whole
I think,
respectability
you know.
thing, that's a very much a modern thing in our current time. I mean, and
Yeah.
yes, it is true. It is the schooling and the money and the respect that it takes to be and maintain a practice as a
Yeah.
doctor. But if you go back just to old England or the Middle Ages, doctors, most of their patients died. It's not exactly a profession you wanted to get into. You're surrounded by plague and disease. You
Yeah,
didn't really
they-
know what was going on.
You're right. Most of them died. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly, it wasn't as respected of a profession then. It was still a learned profession.
Yeah. They just didn't have.
But most people just went to the barber and got leeches slapped on them anyway, some bloodletting or something. You know,
Can you
they
pull
still
my
use
tooth
leeches. They actually
and,
use leeches now though, but they don't use it for bloodletting. They use it to eat like dead flesh and stuff, burn victims and stuff. They actually have used leeches to help skin repair. So some of it's coming back.
Yeah. See, it all comes back
And
around.
maggots.
But
Don't they use maggots for that or something too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did quit beating the crazy out of people though, and I think that they should maybe give that a try again.
I think
Or like, oh yeah, you
bring
need
back
a
the
slug
lobotomy.
worm. That's what's wrong with you.
Right? Or the hysteria, think about the 50s and the 40s and the 50s when it's like, oh, your wife hasn't had an orgasm in 3 years. She's clearly insane. Go to the doctor's office and have a vibrating wand, and the doctor would get your wife off for you. Then she'd go home and take Mother's Little Helpers.
Yeah. Yeah. We've come a long
It's
way,
a
right?
fun world.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, I think it's how much time we got left? I got to get my catchphrase
Yes, you
in
do.
there.
Yeah,
I think we're about done anyway.
Cool.
What do you say?
Oh, okay.
Well, we got from 4
Yeah, no,
to
yeah, but
5,
it's
5 to
about
6,
5
6
now,
to 7.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, these
Oh,
guys
yeah,
got to.
yeah, yeah.
You guys got to
Damn,
go.
you guys have another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
more
you guys
guests
got
up
you
there.
guys got a gig to
yeah.
do too.
No.
So.
Thanks for having us. It was-
Yeah,
It was
no, we'll
great to
wrap
have
it
you
up
guys.
here, and we'll get the next episode cranking. And thanks for coming, guys. It was a lot of fun, man.
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
having
A lot of
us.
fun. Thanks for
Great
having
to
us.
see you. I hope I see you soon.
Sloth doctors.
will.
Talk about doctors.
Yes, that is us, the Sloth Doctors.
Great
Yeah,
to meet
guys.
you, Dr. Bob.
Pleasure
We gotta-
meeting both of you
We
guys.
got to talk about more sloth, though. You know, how can we
Well-
stop you from work? Well, he's
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
right track.
I'm
He
on
quit.
the right track, and that was what it was. I was like, I'm like George W. Bush. I'm like, just don't make me do stuff. I'm like, I just want to stay at home and
Don't make
like
me
smoke
do
my
that.
weed and
There we
like
go.
I'm very happy now.
All right, guys. We'll see you next episode, guys. Have a good one.
See you later.
Remember, kids, don't try hard.